There we are. Okay. So, first off, Inyal Mila, everybody. Greetings and well met. Again, if you guys are watching the live, hello. Hey, Annette. Hey, um, Liana. So, how is everybody doing today? And yes, if I'm looking this way, I'm looking at my phone, and thank God for Takao Okami. Takao. Oop, thank God for Takao no Kami. Well, Takao Kami no Kami, the dragon I'm working with today. Well, now I am technically, but today's topic that I wanted to discuss with you guys, and yes, I am going to go live on Facebook too, so just be aware of that. I'm just gonna make sure that everybody knows I'm on. Before I get into the topic directly. Okay. But yeah, today's live topic is going to be about the dragons. And this is going to be a very, very fun live, especially for me because I love dragons. If you guys probably wouldn't be able to tell, specifically with all my dragon statues and things like that. However, we're going to get into the main discussions about dragons. Who and what are they? And again, their essence of what they are meant to accomplish. So we will get into that when everybody else joins. So that way we can have a live audience that we can answer questions and things like that with. Um, post that there. Pin that there. But yeah, so that is going to be today's live topic. And good afternoon, Pay. I see you on Facebook over here. Again, I'm on YouTube, Pay. So if you want to come click the this link right there and hop over to YouTube. However, today's topic, getting into the purpose, the essence of dragons, and I want to share this out too to a few other groups. But again, I can't do that. So if you guys can, please share out. Um, Terry, click the down below and join us on Facebook, or not on Facebook, but on YouTube, because what I want to do is go live, talk about dragons. Might as well. Also, for those on YouTube, I'm sorry if I'm not seeing you guys. That's just because I seriously don't have both of my tabs open. Oh, hell yeah. Of course I do. Dragons are magnificent. Let's just put it out there. So yes, those of you guys who are on Facebook, please hop over to YouTube because I'm gonna cut this one short, so that way on my phone I can post to the groups. You'll find me on YouTube. Just look up the Aquarian Dragon or the Dragon Mystic Insights, and I should pop up. So with that ending, so what should I get into first? So this is where it's gonna get very interesting, and it's gonna be very quick for you guys, considering. But before I do that, let me share out to some of my other groups. Of course, I love dragons, Liana. Mm. What other groups? Okay, there. I'll leave it at that, okay? So if you guys want to share out, then by all means, please. Again, also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So the main topic is going to be about dragons and dragon magic. But if you guys do have questions about dragons, I will answer those for you guys. So to start off, we're going to get into the topic of what is a dragon. So again, to human standards, we have the Shenlong, the Tianlong, the Dailong, the Chinese dragons, as they're normally called, with the 3, 4, and 5 toed serpent-like dragons with or without wings, horns, and no horns. Then we have the dragons that we are most familiar with, which are what we consider the medieval dragons, the European dragons, which have the 4 legs, the giant set of wings. Best description, I know I had it here somewhere, would be this one right here. And yes, this one is my fire dragon in this little globe. But yeah, that would be the Western, or no, yeah, the Western European style dragon. So again, in human standards, dragons are seen as vile, evil, conniving creatures. But in reality, dragons are a little bit better than that. So, to what the Chinese understood of dragons, dragons always stood for bravery, virtue. Yeah, not biased in any way. I'm really not. Again, I would much prefer humans over. Well, no, I'd much prefer dragons over humans any day. But that's just because, again, dragons have their ethics. However, dragons are one of the wisest of creatures or beings here in the physical world. Again, they are the primordial attachments to the primal elements. So again, they have a deeper connection to the elemental sources than what we are capable of. Again, even though humans can tap into the elements to some degree, the dragons live it and breathe it into their own existence. Again, there are also other dragons which kind of like exist outside of our own perceptions of this world. And yes, this is going to get into Tiamat, some could say Typhon, and some of the other primordial dragons, like Hecate, also the dragons of sea, land, and sky. So again, it's complicated. But to get to the very beginning of the dragons and the three primordials, this is where it gets interesting and fun. And this is only from my perspective. You guys can do your own work, your own research, and work with the dragons of your own accord. But again, there are sometimes it can be seen as three primordial dragons, because there is the dragon of sea, land, and sky, the past, present, future. But there's also a fourth one, and this one kind of like encompasses all three aspects. And you could call it source or whatever, the cosmic egg, so forth and so forth. Again, this primordial dragon is in essence what we consider the great mystery, the void, the nothingness. And it is here that all things come from. However, from that said unknowable great mystery, great spirit, the void, source, came forth the three primordial dragons of sea, land, and sky. Sea deals in the subconscious. Again, these are the things of the past. And this is where our ancestors and those who have come before us come into play. Then we have the dragon of land, which again is the conscious aspect, the aspect that we express here in the present, which again deals with the spirit animals, spirit guides, and the lingering souls or the lingering spirits here in the present moment. So again, the elementals, hexes, curses, jinxes, spellcrafting, so forth and so forth. Again, land further divides into the 5 aspects of Western magic. So there's water, earth, fire, air, and spirit. In Taoism, this would be attributed to the 8 trigrams. And I seriously don't remember the 8 trigrams off the top of my head. But the 8 trigrams include heaven, marsh, fire, thunder, earth, mountain, water, wind. Again, I'm not going to get so much into the specific elements. If you guys want to search into that, then by all means, do your own research on each of these different points. Again, dragons have always stood for good luck, good fortune, good health, also for bravery, loyalty, courage, valor, so forth and so forth. However, in the past 200, no, not 200, 2,000 years, dragons were demonized. And the reason being is because, again, humans ended up fearing dragons and their energy, their potential and everything that they are, even though dragons are still revered in the East, in China, Japan, um, Korea, and all those places. The dragons of the, I keep wanting to say Middle Age, but of European origin, are demonized. Again, Saint George, who slew the dragon. Again, dragons have been chased off the earth by humans, and due to human arrogance, through human stupidity. But again, that is of no consequence to the dragons themselves, considering that they chose to leave the earth for a time before they can return, when everybody kind of reconnects to nature. But again, you guys might be asking, what does this little rambling have to do with dragons? Well, again, in order to rebuild that connection, you must first understand that connection, and so forth and so forth. Hey, Annette, I see you, I see you. But yeah, in order to fully understand it, you have to understand the history of the dragons. So again, in working with the dragons of sea, land, and sky, again, the book for that one is Sea, Land, and Sky, a Dragon Magic Grimoire by Parker Torrance. Again, he has the original edition, which is minuscule compared to his revised edition. I still need to get the revised edition to look into that one, because I know it goes so much more in depth than the first edition. But then there are the 3 books by DJ Conway, which are the Dancing with Dragons, the Mystical Dragon Magic, the Practice of the 5 Inner Rings, and then Dragon Magic Working with the Clans, which again is good, but once you build your connection, you kind of take what you want and then you apply it in a way that benefits and works best for you. However, if you guys are into Deanna Cooper, her books, what is it? Dragons, Your Celestial Guide. I would rather say don't trust it. But again, I still adore the dragons from the Dragon Oracle cards by Deanna Cooper. And that's just because, one, I know for a fact dragons have existed all over the fucking place. But 2, I still don't like how she kind of like not incorporated the different dragons, but kind of necessarily depicted. It's just the card meanings are a little bit too love and lighty and kind of like fluffy in a way that, to me anyways, doesn't necessarily hold true to the dragons. So again, the only reason why humans have feared dragons is because, 1, they are old as hell. 2, they live as long as hell. And 3, the dragon's energies are so primordial, so connected to the primal nature or the primal elements, that they have become indistinguishable from said element. Again, their energy is very massive, very high, and very condensed and heavy. The dragons do have that like energy, and because they are both positive and negative, more so on the negative side, it's why working in dragon magic is the left-hand path. A lot of dragons are not lovey, and I will speak from experience with that one. Not all dragons are love and light, and trust me, don't ever trust a dragon that says they're all love and light, because they'll burn you in the end. And they will have fun. But again, when it comes to dragon energy, yes, it is heavy, yes, it is dense, and yes, it seems demonic. But then again, that is because we cannot comprehend the traditional primordial aspects of the elements of nature. Again, humans have always feared nature to some extent, and that's why we kind of wanted to separate ourselves from it. But again, nature is who we are. Nature is what we are. So again, there is no escaping nature in any way, shape, or form. And it's funny because once I pull up the deck, two cards actually did fly out. So the first card that flew out is the Alpha Dragon. And yes, you guys will see why I don't necessarily enjoy this deck due to its love and light type messages. But again, the Alpha Dragon helps you to harness the divine masculine power of creation. It is time to destroy the old, visualize your dream, and help to manifest a new world. Again, the Alpha Dragon, to me anyways, isn't black, it is gold. And that's just because that's how I see it. Again, I work mostly with the Shenlong or the Tianlong, the celestial dragons, the dragons that work with the deities. But again, not half bad considering, but I can apply this in a whole totally different manner. But again, Alpha Dragon, harnessing the masculine aspect, utilizing both the masculine and feminine side of your way of thinking. So again, being logical, but also having faith and trust in your own intuition and what you feel. And this brings in the second card. So again, this is the Black Dragon from Saturn. But again, this dragon helps to bring you wisdom through spiritual discipline. So it's time to concentrate, focus on your ultimate vision, congratulate yourself, and you have passed a test. So again, this is more so like spiritual growth, whereas when combined with the Alpha Dragon, this is a reminder to everybody that even in the darkest times, we need to remember logic and reason along with intuition is required in order for us to understand and work with the full depiction of what is going on around us. And that's kind of how I see it. And yes, Liana, fluffy dragons. That is very fluffy, but I still enjoy it. But again, I still don't necessarily. Well, I'll debate with Deanna Cooper on the dragons have no free will, but again, no, dragons do have free will, and they will do what dragons do. They will do whatever the hell they want, whenever they want, and however they want. If never, you guys, just for you, so you guys are aware, don't ever try to make a dragon do something that it will not want to do. Don't command a dragon. Not a good idea. Mm-mm. I've seen way too many people get burned by dragon's ire. Again, dragons are meant to be revered and feared. Again, you would wonder, what good does fear play if in this new world that we're trying to create, we're trying to get away from fear? Well, fear has its part, it has its place. But again, everybody has fed so much into fear that it has taken on this new form. But again, fear in its original state was meant to help us to survive. It was meant to help us learn and rise above certain things. So again, fear of dragons really does play its part. Again, it is better not being roasted than it is to be roasted. Um, However, to get into the part that I really wanted to get into is there are a form of dragons. Um, some people know them as planets. Again, this part is true. So, in one of the original stories of Tiamat, the primal mother of chaos, her grandson Marduk slew Tiamat and severed her in two, half of which created the heavens, half of which created the earth. Again, Draco, the constellation, was said to be one half of Tiamat on its back, facing upwards, whereas Tiamat, the earth, is the planet that we're living on. So again, Tiamat became the earth. However, there is a dragon beyond Tiamat who was known as Namu. Again, this is the mother of Tiamat, but it actually is Tiamat, which again, it gets confusing considering, but again, it's very difficult to kind of put into words. You guys would have to sit in a meeting with the dragon elders and work with them to fully grasp the story behind it. But again, in human terms, Namu and Tiamat are one of the same. But again, Namu gave birth to Tiamat because Namu's time has ended. Tiamat and Apsu gave rise to the first of the gods. The gods struck back against Apsu, slew Apsu, enraged Tiamat. Marduk slayed Tiamat. Tiamat created 11 beings, the first 11 species of creation, and amongst them were the first of the dragonborns, the original dragons. Again, these dragons, on a grand scheme of things, they were said to be monstrous. And the only way I can describe it is if you guys close your eyes and you try to picture a dragon, and then you try to expand it as big as the Earth, and then as big as as big as the galaxy, and then as big as the Milky Way, and then as big as the space between here and Andromeda, and then from here to Orion, or from Orion to Andromeda, and then beyond even that, is what the original dragons tend to look like. They are massive, and thank God there is no such thing as limited space, considering. But yeah, the original dragons are massive, and then they only condensed from there. Again, some of the more primordial dragons, as we know them, ended up going from such a massive scale and then shrunk and condensed themselves into planetary like beings. Again, some of the older dragons, again, if you guys are familiar with the egg theory, like the sun's a giant egg, yeah, that story has its premise. Some of the older dragons became planets, some became stars, Some even created entire galaxies, and you guys will be surprised. Yeah, I know, Annette. You need to work on your solar plexus, and then the white one is to help you cleanse and purify yourself. So again, to get rid of all that unnecessary gunk. But yeah, there's so much to the stories of dragons, you guys. But again, getting into dragon magic, this one is where it's going to get a little bit more complicated and complex. And yes, I'm going to step away from trying to explain dragons for now. And that's because it's a lot to take in and a lot to kind of like process and understand. But again, when it comes to dragon magic, that one's a little is a little bit more complicated. Because again, even though magic works in mysterious ways and in ways that we can never predict, or in mysterious ways that even we cannot comprehend, and in ways that we don't necessarily will always know of, magic is basically a very complex form of not necessarily supernatural or superficial abilities, but it is a natural connection or a natural resonance between us and the world around us. So again, magic here on this planet would be totally different if we were on another planet. Even though we can still influence the thing outside of our planet, it isn't necessarily as strong as what we do here. Again, getting back into the Tiamat is the earth. Again, the ley lines are also known as the dragon veins. Again, energy flows through the ley lines. And just like how blood flows through our veins, so too does the blood of Tiamat flow through the ley lines. And just like humans, if we get a blood clot, bad things happen. Same thing with the ley lines. If negative energy kind of like, how should I explain it? So, okay, that would explain it. So, the black tar, and for those of you guys who watched the Lion's Pride, you probably heard me talk about it. So the black tar, or these little black specks of tar-like sprites, and I call them sprites because that's what they look like, little bowls of Sprite. Again, if you guys don't know what a Sprite is, it's like a little gnat type looking fly, horsefly things. Again, in dragon tongue, they are the Arulek. And again, black ball form nothingness. I'm not going to get too much into it. But again, the black tar or the Arulek are literally both dark matter and a form of tachyon. But they are also a very kind of like attraction-based species, entities, beings that literally can combine, become larger things. Again, a lot of spiritual apparitions, especially when a demon or daimon or spirit or even dryads or nature spirits come into this reality, they draw in these tar-like beings to give form into nothingness and nothingness into form. So again, it is the you can call it the building blocks, the foundation blocks of what creates physical matter. But if you work with the Arulek, you can amplify the power of your spells, the essence of what you're doing. And again, you can also use it to open up portals to not just other dimensions, but other worlds. Again, this is the part that humans are better left not tampering with. And that's just because, again, humans are arrogant and very stupid. But again, when the Arulek kind of like fly through the ley lines, they pick up negativity. And they're the reasons why the Earth's ley line get so built up with negativity, and why it is necessary to do cleansing work in the ley lines and in the air. Again, humans tampering with things that they probably shouldn't be is also what has led to certain dragon veins kind of like drying up and parts of it losing a lot of energy and then causing a lot of imbalance in the course of nature. Again, you can say that nature has its natural state, but again, when you tamper with the ley lines and you're tampering with the life force of the earth, if certain veins go dry, droughts and very, very dangerous droughts, famine, so forth and so forth. If you guys get the picture, if you guys cut the veins and you kind of like bleed them dry, nothing will live in said area anymore. And this is kind of what happens to here in Arizona. Again, the ley lines are far more complex, and there's way more than what is written, and there's way more than what I will ever tell you. But yeah, humans have tampered with the ley lines way too much. And a lot of the drought here in Arizona and California and going into the Southwest has actually happened because the ley lines have been tampered with and because certain energies are running out in certain places. But again, this gets into a whole different topic. But to bring it back into the dragons, one of their key purposes is to help us to reconnect to nature, to reconnect to ourselves, and to remind us that we have a responsibility here on this planet. Again, we are here on this planet for a reason. We have a responsibility to it. Humans are the smartest, but the dumbest animal. Again, even dolphins could do a better fucking job than us. So too could chimpanzees. Sorry to say it, but yeah, it is true. Humans have kind of gone a little bit too arrogant and kind of kicked off responsibility and kind of want to blame other things, other people, other beings, other entities, and things beyond even us. But one of the better lessons to be learned is that during the day where the veil between worlds was created, so again, in the place between our world, the spiritual world, and every other dimension that exists, the dragons were there to assist us in raising said veil so that way we couldn't be interfered with by outside forces. Again, this is where summoning became important, where evocation became important, where banishments became important, where repairing and closing portals and tears and veils became important. Again, even though the window is even though the mind is the window to the soul, to the spirit, and into other dimensions, that can be controlled, that can be understood and worked with. Those are things that are our responsibility. But again, the dragons are also the keepers of nature, because again, through them and with them, they can manipulate the physical world in a way and in a degree that we cannot. So again, even though you're working in dragon magic, a lot of it is nature based. Again, it is built through dedication, through honor, through respect, through literally walking your talk, walking your path, and doing what is necessary and holding true to that said responsibility. So let's see here. I want to ask this, but is there any questions thus far about dragons that you guys want answered? And yes, I want to ask you guys that one, because there's so much about dragons that even I don't know where to begin. Um, okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to plug in my laptop. I forgot I unplugged it and didn't plug it back in. See, oh, are they black or dark gray when they're babies? Which ones? See, when baby dragons come into being or come into essence, they depend. Some are like, some of them take the color of their species or what element they correlate to. However, a lot are more so black, gray, some are white, some are silver, some are gold. It just really depends. But a lot of them are shimmering. Some of them are like ravens, where they are black and then they shimmer like multiple colors, and it's actually pretty cool. But if you guys ever visit the dragons breeding grounds or their um, birth place, hard to describe it, you guys would see a lot of interesting things. Um, but yeah, getting into the dragon mystic or the dragon aspect, it does deal a lot in nature. Again, just like in Taoism, there is no correct path. There is no one path. There is no one way. You can make it however you want it to be. Again, you can work with each of the four elemental dragons: fire, water, earth, and air. Again, you could work with the dragons of light and the dragons of darkness, the dragons of chaos, the Tianlong, the celestial dragons, the Shenlong, the spirit dragons, who, mind you, also work a lot with rain, snow, and weather. Or you can work with the Dailong, the dragon gods. The dragon kings, that's a different story. that one kind of way out there with that one. The dragon kings are the Chinese Shenlong, or the dragon, not Shenlong, the dragon lung, who kind of oversee each of the five directions. And you guys might be asking, what is the five directions? So again, you have the north, south, east, west. but then you have the center point in the middle, and the dragon who oversees the middle is kind of like the main high king. And again, these five kings are descendant of Long Mu, who is the mother of dragons. Again, she was human, but she raised five dragons, the eldest of which became the first dragon king, who resides in the center. Then his four brothers took apart each of the four directions. It's more difficult to explain them because I can't remember each of the directions and what their names are. And mind you, the Chinese names for them gets very confusing. So excuse me for that one. But yeah, there's so many different forms of dragons and so many different books that you guys can research, work with. And when you build your connection to the dragons, you can even ask and work with them to understand more of who or what they are. Again, I wouldn't necessarily suggest trusting most dragons. And you might say, why would a dragon mystic or somebody who works with dragons say don't trust the dragons when they are known to be loyal? Well, when it comes to not trusting the dragons, this has an interesting point because I know a lot of dragons who like to play tricks, and a lot of dragons who have a tendency to be tricksters, playful. And this isn't just the children. The children can be very playful and very tricksy and into playing, and sometimes they can play a little too rough. Um, some of the dragon fae, the little dragon fairies, uh, have a tendency to move things around, steal certain stones, and things like that. The Tika can play games. Most of them are like hide and seek or kind of like borrow certainties or other things without permission and see how long it takes you to figure out that they took it and to ask for it back. Um, again, I would talk about Teazut or Tiazut, but that gets into a more complex version of dragons and the purpose of the veil than I really want to get into, but I'll get into that one in a later video when I talk about light and dark and get into the yin and yang, the good and evil, so forth and so forth. That will be in that topic. But is there any other questions about dragons and or dragon magic? And that you'd be surprised. Dragons have like one particular creed, and again, they don't see evil the same way we do. They don't see good and bad as we do. But the fun thing is yes, they will do harm when necessary, but they are capable of loving to a point. but at the same time, they will teach you a lesson if they know you need to be taught a lesson. So again, it is love just enough. But again, remember that there is tough love, and that is more so the best type of love is tough love. Even if you want to coddle or lovey-dovey somebody to the point where you want to squeeze them, the dragons know that there is a purpose to independence and so forth and so forth. So again, the dragon's path is more so tough love than it is to be lovey-dovey and coddling and cuddling and things like that. But yeah, it's one of the reasons why it's a left hand path is because dragons will take no shit whatsoever. And if you can't keep up with the dragons, they're not going to work with you. Also, for those to note, dragons do uphold the 7 teachings of truth, love, respect, courage, honesty, humility, wisdom. They also hold on to loyalty, honor, and truth. Again, to thy own heart be true. So, again, I will end this topic here, you guys. Mm-mm. But yeah, I'll end this live here, you guys. And I will be live on Facebook later on this afternoon for some live readings. Again, if you guys are watching the replay, this isn't meant for you guys, just so you guys know. But yeah, so with that being said, love and light and blessed be.